What's up, Silver and Black Nation? It's the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry here. Letting you know, coming up on the Silver and Black Lair Raiders edition, we'll be talking Las Vegas Raiders number changes, uh, moving training camp to Costa Mesa. I'll also be taking a look at the recent free agents the Raiders have signed, and also I'll be taking a look at their defensive backfield. All that, and of course, much, much more coming up on the Silver and Black Show. I'll be right back in 44 seconds. What's up, Silver and Black Nation, and welcome to the Silver and Black Lair Las Vegas Raiders edition. And you know what day it is, right? It's Friday. There we go. The weekend is here. If you have to work, sucks to be you. So let's kick this off. Let's do a little bit of Raider talk. But before we get started, of course, we got our boy Adam Glenn checking in. The first comment of the day said, "What's up? What's up, Adam? Adam, I forgot all about you again, buddy. I was supposed to get you on before the show and make sure you're all set up with your new tripod or whatever it is you got going on for your phone for tomorrow night. But we'll get on after the show. I'll tell you that. All right, my bad. Sorry. Let's kick this show off. Let's get it on the road here. So Raider free agents, they signed a couple recently. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real quick and where they might fit in scheme-wise. So the Raiders signed Michael Gallup, wide receiver, former Dallas Cowboy, most recently. Really surprised the Raiders signed him. I was actually surprised that he was on the open market. Very good wide receiver. Not great numbers the last couple of seasons. You can see, you look at his career stats, you can see a steady decline in his numbers. But, still a young guy, 28 years old. He's coming into his 20-year-old season, I believe. And so he's still a very young guy, got a lot to give yet. And, also a veteran, wideout. He's been around for a little while. And so it's good to have guys like that around when you have a young receiving core. Which the Raiders do have a couple of young wide receivers. And also a couple, wily vets in Jacoby Myers and, of course, Devontae Adams. Michael Gallup, last season, 34 catches with 418 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns. Throughout his career, though, he's had a fantastic career. 266 catches, 3,744 yards, 21 touchdowns. He had a 1,000-yard season, 1,000-plus yard season back in 2019. And 2020 also is 849 yards or something like 849, 850, something like that. So a couple of great seasons there for him, back-to-back in 19 and 20. Very high yards per catch as well. As back in 2019, we had over 1,000 yards. His yards per catch were around 17 yards per catch. So he's a little bit of more of a deep threat. So we'll see if he's still got some juice. We'll see if he still has some juice, and he's going to go ahead and battle it out for that third wide receiver spot with Trey Tucker, and there's also the fourth wide receiver spot. But I think we were going to see a lot more 3 wide receiver sets than 4 wide receiver sets with our double tight ends. So I expect to see a lot of Brock Bowers split out. They signed Gallup. They also signed another wide receiver, another veteran. Well, I guess a couple years in the league anyway. I don't want to call that a veteran or not. Jalen Guyton, former Los Angeles Charger of San Diego. Not anything that's going to blow you away. I think he was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago for the Chargers, I believe. I could be wrong about that. They played 8 games last year, 10 catches, 89 yards. Nothing spectacular. I don't expect him to really push anybody out of their spot as per se. I would say, I'd probably take Gallup. I would imagine Gallup would beat Guyton out. The wild card there's your Trey Tucker with being a very young wide receiver last year, being a rookie. Can he take that next step and solidify himself as a number 3 guy right now in that wide receiving room? So that's your wild card right there. I think is Trey Tucker. What can he show now with a little bit of competition there, a little bit more competition, some serious competition, especially Michael Gallup, but also to a lesser extent Jalen Guyton. Through Jalen Guyton's career, he played in 46 games. He has 71 catches, 1,112 yards, 7 touchdowns. He had 511 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns in 2020 and 448 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2021. So he had back-to-back seasons, fairly productive, for a number 3 wide receiver, number 4 wide receiver. Those aren't terrible numbers at all. I got a couple comments here before I continue. Adam Glenn, will they sign Tom Brady? No, he will be part owner. So he's been I don't know if he's been approved or it's going through the owners right now. The other owners have to vote on it and they have to approve it. So as of right now, that's what it's going through with Tom Brady and his ownership stake in the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's where he's not going to play anywhere. He's not going to get back on the field. The dude is done. It's people put that out there. I guess maybe so he stays relevant more. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, he's not playing for anybody. I can guarantee you that. If he does play for somebody, Adam Glenn, I'll give you $50. No, I will not. I will not. I take that back. I will not give you $50, Adam Glenn. Eileen, what's up, Eileen? She says Friday. Yeah, there it is. Did Gallup play on the Cowboys? Yes, he did. He had a couple of really good seasons with the Cowboys. But you can see if you look up his career stats, the last 2 or 3 years, you can see it steadily tailing off, and getting fewer and fewer targets. It's the Cowboys have some pretty big wideouts there in Big D. So you will not take 50, Adam. You will not take 50. You're not getting 50 from me. Maybe from your homeboy Lazarchik, but not from me. Working all that overtime. All right, so back to Raiders free agents free agent signings. They signed Andrews Pete, offensive lineman, former Pro Bowler, is with the New Orleans Saints. Kind of lost his starting job last season. Was able to battle back and play a good bit of games at guard. I think the Raiders have him listed as tackle/guard, but he played most of his snaps at guard recently. So we'll see what happens there. But it's more depth, more offensive line depth. A proven offensive lineman that's had a lot of success in the past. That maybe he's kind of fallen on hard times or for whatever reason, just kind of lost himself a little bit. So maybe a change of scenery. Maybe he can find himself again. What he used to be. Kind of reinvigorate him or find that magic. He made three straight Pro Bowls in 18, 19, and 20. Most of his career at left guard. Played left tackle. He played tackle last season for the Saints. I got it mixed up. Most of his career was a left guard. Played left tackle in 2023 and some right tackle. 9 years with New Orleans. Out of 459 pressures, out of 459 dropbacks, he only allowed 30 quarterback pressures. So that's not terrible. He has a 62 Pro Football Focus grade for run blocking. So that's not great. I do know that Thayer Mumford did have a better grade at run blocking than he did, and that's kind of looking at that right tackle spot. It's kind of right now the way it sits right now. Thayer Mumford is your guy right now at right tackle. I don't know if anybody feels really comfortable that Thayer Mumford is sitting there at right tackle. I know I'm not, but I'm willing to give the young guy a shot. To be honest with you, Thayer Mumford came out and said that he's not comfortable being a right tackle. He wants to be a left tackle. But you know what, young buck, you got Colton Miller over there, one of the top left tackles in the league, and he's a solidified starter. He's a Raider. I don't see him bumping over to right tackle for Thayer Mumford. So Thayer, learn it or sit your ass on the bench. That's what I say. He's had basically 2 years to do it. He played primarily right tackle last year. I know when Colton Miller got hurt at left tackle last season, they did rotate some guys through, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think Thayer Mumford might have gotten some reps there at left tackle as well when the Raiders had Jermaine Ulemanor playing a little bit of right tackle. So he did get some reps at left tackle. He also got some reps at right tackle. But so it's going to be interesting with Andrews Pete, where they have him primarily listed as. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they announced him as tackle / guard, but obviously he can play both. And unfortunately it's left side of the line, and that's pretty much solidified right now. You got Colton Miller left tackle, Dylan Parham left guard, Andre James at center. So it's the whole right side, and even the right side, the right guard. We just drafted Jackson Powers Johnson, JPJ. We expect him to kind of slide in there and start day one. I mean, obviously there's going to be a competition, but this dude has a lot of hype behind him. There's a hype train. I'm pretty sure most of the Raider fans are on that hype bandwagon. I know I was listening to Raiders podcast last night, hosted by Q, and I'm not sure who it was saying it, if it was Q or not, or if it was something that he was reading from. But they were talking about JPJ. He was reading overall grades for the Raiders draft. That's what it was. And there were some draft experts that were saying that JPJ, was their top offensive lineman in the whole draft. But because he was a center, a lot of teams are looking for tackles, and that's just that's how it went. The offensive line, they want tackles first, and then he was still sitting there at 44 for the Raiders, and they thought for sure he would have been gone late first or definitely early second, but he was still sitting there, and very, very glad that he fell to us. Very glad. I expect great things out of JPJ. So you have to figure Andrews Pete's going to push him there for competition. He's going to push for Thayer Mumford for competition, and rotate in, fill in where needed, with injuries and stuff like that. And it's great to have offensive linemen like that are so versatile in so many different positions. So right now, I think we have three centers. If you look at our potential starting offensive line, there's 3 guys that could all start at center right now. Dylan Parham, who I thought was going to be our starting center. I didn't think the Raiders were going to re-sign Andre James. You have Andre James at center, who's your legit center, and then Jackson Powers Johnson, who was the center for the last bit of his college career. He also played a lot of guard, so that's why he's listed at guard. That's where the Raiders need him at. So good stuff there. I got a couple comments here. Paul Spencer, our boy Paul. What's up, Paul? Thanks for checking the show out. Thank you, sir, for commenting. I said Gallup might be okay with the Raiders. Dak stared down his wideouts, Lamb, and didn't use wide receiver 2 and 3. So when I was checking out his stats, you could see steadily the last few years his targets go way, way down, and of course his targets go down, receptions go down, and I thought Gallup. For some reason when I was looking up Gallup's stats, his stat lines and stuff, I thought he was much older than he actually was. I thought he was like mid 30s, and but late 20s, 28 years. He's coming into his 28-year-old season. I mean, that's young yet, So he hasn't been in the league incredibly long. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if he had a case of the dropsies at all, or if he just didn't have a good rapport with Dak. I don't know. Powers is nasty. I think he wins the position. Huge upside. I had him one center in front of BB that Dallas took. Yeah. And so here's the thing. Like, I didn't really, when I was doing my mock drafts, I didn't have the Raiders going offensive lineman, I don't think, in the second round. I think I had offensive lineman in the first round. If they didn't take offensive lineman in the first round, it was going to be quarterback or cornerback. If they took quarterback, then cornerback or some sort of defensive back was going to be in second round. And, if it wasn't going to be quarterback in the first round, I thought that maybe, if Penix fell, they did take Penix in the second round. But obviously, we see how that all worked out. So I was wrong. But yeah, so I didn't really look at Powers at all. I did look at BB. So I figured he'd be there like, third, fourth, maybe fifth round. I'm not sure what round Dallas got him in. It's probably second or third. I'm thinking probably third. But I heard a lot of good things about BB. But super excited for JPJ, and I have no doubt that he's going to win that battle there for right guard, and I have no doubt that he's going to be awesome. Just say like this. He played at a major college. I mean, I get it. Not a lot of love for the Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever the hell you want to call it. But he did a hell of a job there for a few years in Oregon. Really good job. All right, so moving on from the free agents, I'm going to go ahead and throw out there. There's a bunch of new numbers here with the Las Vegas Raiders. We have our rookies; they got their numbers. I'm not going to go over the undrafted free agent numbers. There's a gajillion of them. I'm not going to do it. We also have some of the newer Raiders with their new numbers, and also some veterans. Some guys that've been with the Raiders for a few years. They also got new numbers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off here. Aiden O'Connell changed his number from 4 to 12. So he went from the old rocking the old Derek Carr number to rocking the Rich Gannon number. So hopefully that brings some little bit better juju. Christian Wilkins, our big offseason acquisition there at defensive tackle. He will be number 94, which sounds about right. I'm not sure what he was in Miami, but for some reason I feel like 94 was probably his number in Miami as well. Gardner Minshew is 15, the old Jeff Hostetler number, if my memory serves me correctly, which it normally does not, but I feel like Jeff Hostetler was 15. Harrison Bryant, tight end that we signed from the Browns, I believe. He'll be number 84. Alexander Madison, running back from the Vikings that we signed. He'll be number 25. Trayvon Merrick. I'll be talking defensive backs. He's one of the guys I'll be talking about. Strong safety. He'll be down number 7. I think he was number... I feel like he was number 25 last season, but I could be wrong. Matt Butler, defensive tackle for the Raiders. He'll be number 91 this year. I don't recall what his number was last year. I feel like it was in the 90s somewhere. Matt Butler. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what his number was last season. And Zamir White. Zamir White's now number 3. That was his college number, and he was number 35. So looking at some rookies, or drafted rookies, Richardson, he'll be now number 21. Dylan Labe, he'll be number 23. Devonshire, defensive back, he'll be number 26. MJ. I thought for some reason I was thinking DJ. I'm like, I have it written down here. It's MJ. MJ Devonshire. He'll be number 26. Trey Taylor will be number 37, another defensive back. Eichenberg, the tough-ass linebacker out of Ohio State, he'll be number 45. JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, will be number 70. Blaze, the tackle that we drafted, he was from... Blaze was from, I want to say Maryland, but I don't think it was. Was it South Carolina? It doesn't matter where he's from. He'll be number 71. And of course, Brock Bowers, our number 1 overall pick, picked at number 13. He will be number 89 coming up this season. So the old Amari Cooper number. I can't think of any tight ends that had 89 before. Not off the top of my head anyway. Yeah, it's one of those deals where if I see it, it's like, oh, okay. They were 89, but right now I just can't think of anything. I wonder what number Rocket Ishmael was. I don't think he was 89. For some reason, I feel like he was 80. I feel like Rocket Ishmael was 80. I know Jerry Rice was 80 when he came to the Raiders. Tim Brown 81. Maybe Rocket was 82. Or was that James Jett? I think James Jett might have been 82. 83 was I feel like Ted Hendricks was 83 back in the day. 84, Jerry Porter. 85. Was that Zach Miller? I don't. It doesn't. I'm wasting time here. I'm getting off topic here. Adam, the answer. Adam Glenn says, "Do you like Aiden?" I do like Aiden. I do like Aiden O'Connell. I'm excited to see what he can do with a full off season to really work to get with Luke Getsy, the new offensive coordinator, and figure out this offense. It's going to be a run first type of offense. That's what we're expecting anyway. That's what we're expecting. But if you look at Luke Getsy's offense last year with the Bears, there was some guys. I talked about this last week, I believe. There were some guys there with career years. Tight end career year, Cole Kmet. Wide receiver DJ Moore, career year. Another wide receiver who I can't think of right now. He also had a career year receiving. So they're throwing the ball as well. It wasn't just run, but they're throwing the bean pretty well. But that could have been because the Bears are down. I don't know. They didn't have a great season, at least a great start last season. That could have been part of it, or that's just how well he mixes it up. We'll have to wait and see. I do expect to see a lot of two tight end set, and when you think your tight ends, you think safety, your safety cushion, your safety pillow, whatever the hell you want to call it. Your outlet. You know what I'm trying to say. Putting words together into complete sentences is something that I struggle with. Coherent, complete sentences. I really struggle with stuff like that. And right now that I'm struggling. All right, so moving on from that. Thanks for the comment, Adam. Anybody watching out there right now? Watching from X, our Twitter, our X Twitter, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, Facebook. Throw out your comments, questions about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll go ahead and read it. We'll go ahead and discuss and talk about it. It doesn't have to be quite Raider related. It could be anything. Your team, whatever. Let me know how your team drafted. You like it? You don't like it? If you're a Raider fan, let me know what you think of the Raiders draft. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Like Adam asked about Aiden O'Connell. What are your thoughts on Aiden O'Connell? I do think that Aiden O'Connell can beat out Gardner Minshew for that starting for the QB1. But that remains to be seen. I know going into the offseason, Antonio Pierce has said that it's basically Aiden O'Connell's job to lose. He said, this is Aiden O'Connell's QB1 until he's not. He's QB1. That's what he's going to the offseason at. And we'll see what happens with Gardner. Can Gardner Minshew go out there and beat him out? And I like Gardner Minshew as well. It's one of those scrappy kind of guys. Reminds you of like a poor man's Brett Favre or something. Kind of run and gun, gunslinger kind of guy. Scrappy, tough. And I know a lot of people have kind of mentioned Rich Gannon. Gardner Minshew's a bit of a journeyman quarterback, kind of what Rich Gannon was. But I just see two different quarterbacks. Rich Gannon was very cerebral. Rich Gannon moved awesome in the pocket. He was able to move very, very well, and get outside the tackle box. And if he had to, he could pick up those first downs. Very extremely accurate. I'm not really sure how accurate Gardner Minshew is. Seen him play against the Raiders last season. He looked very good. He won a lot of games. In the fourth quarter. Comeback wins or whatever. Or putting teams away with big throws. And he had the Colts on the cusp of a playoff spot. They kind of blew it in the last minute or two of the game, last game of the season. So, they were there. They were. It was basically a shoe-in, and they blew it. And that was because Minshew had that offense clicking. Their rookie quarterback, I can't remember who they drafted. Wasn't who the hell? I think it was the kid from Alabama, who I can't think of right now. But he got hurt second or third week of the season, and it was Minshew from there. It was Minshew mania from there, and he's won some big games when he was in Philly. He won some big games when he was in Jacksonville. There's times that he looked really bad as well. So you look at Aiden O'Connell, the way he finished up last season. I think he went last 2 or 3. I think the last 3 games, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. The last 4 or 5 games, it was 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, I mean, overall, the last 5 weeks of the season, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He protected the ball very, very well. And the defense played well enough where they didn't really need him to win them games until he was ready to. Those last 3 weeks, he was outstanding. He really was. And so, you always refer back to that game against the Chiefs where they didn't get a first down after the first quarter or whatever, but he didn't need to. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't make any stupid mistakes. So he just did what he had to do and keep pinning the Chiefs back, and the Raiders defense took care of the rest. The Raiders defense did all the scoring. So yeah, I'm excited for this quarterback competition that's coming up. Adam says the Eagles had a good draft. How would you grade it, Adam? A, B, C, D, F? Well, you said good, so I figured it's probably B or an A. So what was your favorite draft pick that the Eagles had? If you could think of any off the top of your head. A sip of iced tea for the working man here. Out of my octopus mug from that movie Finding Dory. I can't remember that guy's name. I feel like it's a Ralph, but I don't know. You see it? Can you see it? There's a little bit of a, the angry fella, the grumpy guy, the grumpy octopus from Finding Dory. I love the Disney shop and all their goofy ass mugs. I'm a mug guy. I got myself a Mike Wazowski mug, a Donald Duck mug. Of course, I have Batman, a couple Batman mugs. And of course, that Monkey Cold Coffee mug I got at monkeycoldcoffee.com in their swag shop. And I use the promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off my order. But we'll hit that a little bit later on. All right, so moving forward now, I said I was going to talk about the defensive backfield. So I'll go ahead and give you their depth chart, my thoughts on how they played last year and how it could end up looking this year. And again, I'm by no means an expert. 150,000%. I played defensive tackle, nose guard, offensive tackle when I was in high school. Take that for what you will. Whether you think that's, nothing, whatever, that's fine. I'm not an expert. I don't even pretend to understand defensive backs, or scheming and stuff like that. That's not my thing. I do understand linemen. I do understand defensive tackles. I do understand a little bit of offensive tackles. It's a little bit more complicated than it was back when I played many moons ago, back in the late 90s. But defensive backs, I'm not going to pretend to understand it because I don't. So looking at our free safety, we'll go ahead and kick it off with free safety. The way it looks here, depth chart wise, we have Marcus Epps, who was our starter last year as well, free safety. Christopher Smith II. So he was picked up. He was a Raider a few years ago. I think they drafted him in the 4th round, maybe something like that. They drafted him in the 4th round. He played, I think he started 13 games for him. And the next season, he was practice squad. He was signed off the practice squad by the Carolina Panthers. And then they ended up, I think they ended up placing him on their practice squad, or they ended up cutting him after a week. They needed him for depth or whatever. So that's where that went. And then we also have the rookie Trey Taylor, I believe, out of Air Force. Marcus Epps last season, fantastic. It was his first season with the Raiders. They got him from the Eagles. I thought he was fantastic. Played very good. Nothing, flashy. I don't, no interceptions. Didn't make any huge plays. He came down, made the tackles where they had to be. Brought a ton of energy to that defensive backfield, something that they've been missing. I feel like in recent seasons. So he brought a ton of energy, a ton of intensity, but also listening to other experts talk about it. He was kind of like their quarterback in the defensive backfield. Placing guys, making sure guys were in the right positions where they needed to be, and that's why we've seen the improvement that we did with the defensive backs last season. So I expect Marcus Epps to even have a better season this year. Now with his second season, and with the Raiders. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be much better for him. I do expect to see a little bit of Trey Taylor as well. It seems like a lot of people are high on Trey Taylor. I believe this is the cat that's related to uh, Ed Reed. Jesus, I could picture Ed Reed. I seen Ed Reed's angry face in my head. I couldn't remember his freaking name, but there it is, Ed Reed. He's related to Ed Reed, which doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you relate to the Pope doesn't mean you're the freaking Pope. So my thoughts are after training camp's over, I do believe Marcus Epps will be your starter, obviously, and I think Trey Taylor's probably going to be your number 2. And what they do with Chris Smith II, I don't know. Practice squad again, maybe, or they keep him around for special teams, makes the roster. I'm not really sure. So we move on over to strong safety. Trayvon Merrick. He started 17 games last season for the Raiders. Real quick, Marcus Epps, his stats last year: 66 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and that was through 17 games started. Trayvon Merrick, 17 games started, 3 interceptions, 83 tackles, and 2 sacks. I really like Trayvon Merrick as well. Huge fan of his. He seems like he's getting better and better each season. Now, they expected a lot out of him when they drafted him. Finally, it seems like it's starting to pay off. He appears to be getting better and better. I'm hopeful that he takes the next step this season and really solidifies himself as a stud defensive back. If he stays even as he did last year, he's going to get passed out. There's a guy right behind him, Isaiah Palomau, that people absolutely love. They love Isaiah Palomau. I like Isaiah Palomau because it's a lot of fun to say his name. He's super intense, very, very good defensive back, and I feel like he's going to get a lot more playing time this year, especially if Trayvon Merrick isn't performing at the level that he should be. So if Trayvon's not going to take the step forward, I could definitely see Palomau passing him out, or at least those guys splitting time. I would not be surprised at all. And there's also Jaden Grant, strong safety. He was a 2023 unrestricted or undrafted free agent for the Raiders. He was also a practice squad player last year. So going into this year, strong safety. I expect Trayvon Merrick to start, but I do expect Isaiah Palomau to get a lot of playing time. And of course, there's going to be different schemes, different sets where he's gonna be in there and he's gonna play. So he'll be plugged in no matter what. But I feel like he's going to share a lot of time with Trayvon Merrick. Last season, Isaiah Palomau, through 16 games, he had a sack and 20 tackles. So I expect him to have a better season as well with more playing time. So looking at left cornerback, we have Jack Jones. And last year, Jack Jones, of course, was we picked him up halfway through the season after Antonio Pierce got the interim head coaching position, which was a surprise to so many different people after they fired McDummie on Halloween, which is kind of funny, in my opinion. But anyway, through 12, he played in 12 games last year, 5 with the Patriots, 7 with the Raiders. He had 3 starts with the Raiders. And those were 3 starts after he kind of got acclimated to the team and kind of found his spot and started, really showing out, started balling. He had a couple of interceptions, 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns. He also had 37 tackles. The dude is a playmaker. He's a straight-up dog. He is absolutely, if he's able to continue the success that he had in so few games with the Raiders, a lot of great things ahead for Jack Jones. The only thing is he's got to stay out of his head. He gets a little bit worked up. He gets I don't want to say he gets in his head a lot, and he needs to be talked down a little bit. He needs to be calmed down. And of course, with guys like Marcus Epps back there and Nate Hobbs, and that's where I think Marcus Epps really stood out to me last season as a leader for the Raiders. I wouldn't be too surprised if he's not named the captain this year, Marcus Epps. But the way he was able to kind of help Jack Jones along and kind of keep him on an even keel and keep him where he needs to be, and that goes without saying, Nate Hobbs as well. Nate Hobbs did the same exact thing. Came in as a veteran leader. Has been with the Raiders for a couple seasons and really helped Jack Jones out a lot. So I expect that to continue. So yeah, and he's a playmaker. The kid's a playmaker. We've seen he had that return for a touchdown against Patrick Mahomes, and he let Patty Mahomes know about it. So it's good. It's one of the big highlights from last season for the Raiders, and in a season that had a lot of turmoil. So it was good to see. And also a left cornerback, we have Brandon Faison. He only played 3 games last season, and he was injured. A lot of people were very high on Brandon Faison. He had a couple good seasons away from the Raiders. He was drafted by the Raiders a few years ago. They let him go. I don't remember whose regime it was under. I want to say it was under Gruden's regime that he was drafted and let go. He was away for a couple seasons. I can't remember where he was for 100%, but he came back, and the Raiders are expecting a lot out of him. I think I wouldn't expect him to beat out Jack Jones, but he's there. I expect him to play, to help out at left cornerback and right cornerback, to bounce back and forth where, he like more of a depth piece. I see Brandon Faison as, and if Jack Jones regresses for some reason, Brandon's there to take it over and not miss a beat. So excited to have somebody like that there in the defensive backfield. Looking at right cornerback, and this is where it could get interesting, where we could see a lot more Brandon Faison or even maybe a Nate Hobbs filling in at right cornerback. A lot of inexperience right here. We have Jacorian Bennett, who's coming into his second season, drafted last year by the Raiders. I don't remember which round it was. I feel it was a 3rd or 4th round for Jacorian Bennett. Played 14 games last year, 4 games started, 32 tackles, and 3 passes defended. Those 4 games started were, I believe, a few of those were early in the season, and the last 1 or 2 were late in the season due to injury. But he struggled. The kid struggled with the speed, the physicality, and not being the big dog on the field anymore, basically. So, let's see how he bounces back. Is he able to rebound and understand that, need to read and react, and, you can't just, expect to make the play. You have to go and make the play. You can't expect to make it. You have to go and make it. And I think that's something that he really struggled with last season. He found himself way off the ball a bunch of times. I feel like early in the season, he also committed a few penalties, a few holding penalties, just because he was getting beat, straight out beaten. So right now he's listed as the number 1 right cornerback, and then we have a couple rookies right behind him, Decamerion Richardson and MJ Devonshire. A lot of people are very high on MJ Devonshire, so I kind of excited to see what he can bring to the table. So you have a second-year player and a couple rookies there at right cornerback. So I wouldn't be too surprised if you see Brandon Faison maybe getting some looks there if the Raiders go free agency to kind of fill that void. I almost feel like they're going to go free agency sooner or later to fill that void. Hi, buddy. Hi. And so we'll see what happens. You want to say hi to the camera? Come here. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. Go watch your YouTube or whatever. I'll be done in a couple minutes, buddy. Okay.
Okay.
How did it go? Good. Kindergarten go good. He had his kindergarten assessment. He was kind of nervous and excited for it. Everything go good, bud?
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to school next year? Yeah. All right. So anyway, so I expect to see Brandon Faison filling in there a lot, especially if the Raiders do not go outside the team to fill that void. I'm not 100% sure what to expect from the rookies, Decamerion Richardson or MJ Devonshire. No clue. Well, and that's what the mini camps are for. Rookie mini camps coming up, all sorts of mini camps and your preseason workouts and stuff, and preseason games where we can kind of see these guys, see what they have to offer, and the potential that they might have. So then looking at our nickelback, look at this photograph. Nate Hobbs had a terrific season last year. My opinion, probably the MVP of the secondary. I thought he was fantastic. Played in 13 games. He did get hurt at the end of the season. 11 starts, 1 interception, 7 passes defended, 86 tackles and 6 tackles for loss. He was a playmaker. He's a great tackler, short tackler, and which helped the Raiders greatly last season. A team that really has struggled with the run against the run game the last few seasons. This past season, struggled at points, but once he got going, once he kind of found his place, and we kind of went from McDaniels to AP and kind of opened the defense up a little bit more instead of McDaniels kind of micromanaging everything. AP let the defense do what the defense does, and things just got better from there. The defense was playing well while McDaniels was the head coach, but when he was fired and AP took over, and he started to kind of gave free rein to the defense, it got much better. So you have Nate Hobbs, and then you also have Sam Webb as the backup. It's Nate Hobbs. It's Nate Hobbs' job. Sam Webb is Sam Webb. Just a depth piece. Basically, I don't expect him to get a whole lot of playing time, except for Nate Hobbs is dinged up or needs a breather or something like that, or something with a scheme. So then that's another guy, Nate Hobbs. I can see maybe with the C on his jersey as well. He'll be named captain or something. One of those two guys, Epps or Nate Hobbs. I'm expecting really big things out this year. I got a comment here from Adam the Answer. He says for the Eagles, earlier he said that this was the original comment. So the Eagles had a good draft. I asked him, I said, how would you grade it? What was your favorite pick? And he said he graded it an A and their first pick. So I don't know who their first pick was because I'm not an Eagles fan, but Adam liked it. So, but that's the Raiders' defensive backfield, and we'll see how it goes. I'm really surprised that we're able to retain Patrick Graham. I thought for sure he would have got a head coaching job somewhere, but I'm happy that he is. He started building something last year with this defense, and hopefully it continues this year. And it starts with these guys in the defensive backfield. It's been so long since I feel like we've have had a really good, solid defensive backfield. I feel like this is it. Epps, Trayvon Merrick, Isaiah Palomau, Jack Jones, Brandon Faison, and one of these rookies. I think I don't have a whole lot of faith in Jacorian Bennett, but I'm willing to give him a chance. Not that he needs my willingness to do it, but these rookies, I do. I feel like one of these rookies are going to really show out in the off season or preseason, I should say, during these camps, and they could absolutely beat out Jacorian Bennett. It's not like Jacorian Bennett's a 5-year starter. It's his second season, and he has a lot to prove. So I would expect some of these rookies to get a lot of playing time, and also, of course, Nate Hobbs. So I like our defensive backfield a lot. I like our defense a lot, but defensive backfield 100%. So next week I'll be talking about the Raiders linebackers. Their depth. Of course, the rookies. Eichenberg from Ohio State. Where will he fit in? And can Robert Spillane match last year's production? So I'll be talking about that next year, or not next year, next week, here on the Silver and Black Lair Raiders edition. So I have one bit of information to talk about yet. The Raiders moving their training camp from the intermittent. I have a hard time saying this. The health. You know what I'm saying? Intermountain Health. It's not resort. Intermittent. I can't say it. I cannot say it. I'm not even going to try. From their original facility, they just had built, I think last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try again. From that facility to Costa Mesa. So they're going back to Southern California, back to kind of not their roots, but their California roots, and back when they were the Los Angeles Raiders as well. So back to Southern California and Costa Mesa, they passed it to 2 days ago. I think it was a vote of 7-0. So it was a unanimous vote. And I was listening to a little bit of the meeting, the city council meeting there, and they kind of ran it up the Chargers' ass there. The way they're kind of knocking the Chargers a bit. They're saying, the Chargers were good to us, this, that, the other, but the Raiders are a legit big name franchise, so it's kind of like little brother Chargers there. And they even said that about the Rams. They even said about the Rams. They said the Raiders are going to bring in more fans than what the Chargers could or what the Rams could, and those are the teams that are actually located in Los Angeles. So very excited for that. Very excited for Costa Mesa. I mean, I don't know anybody in Costa Mesa. I will probably never ever go to Costa Mesa. I have no want to go to Costa Mesa, but the Raiders are going to do some great things there, giving back to the community, giving back to the youth, old youth camps and stuff like that. Back to the Costa Mesa High School, brand new training facility, weight room, and just doing a lot for the community. A lot of money going back into the community. A lot of money is going to go into that facility there, Costa Mesa, which I can't remember the name of the facility, but a lot of money is going to go into that to get it ready, but also to maintain it, and so it can be used by other sports teams. So now in Southern California, you're going to have the Raiders with their mini camp there, the Cowboys, their mini camps there. I think the Saints, for some reason, I feel like their mini camps there, which is something I want to talk about in a second here, but I want to double check. I kept this up for a reason. Yeah, it says a move to Costa Mesa would mean 5 NFL teams would now hold training camps in the area. The Rams and Chargers, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Saints. Yeah, for some reason, the Saints are all the way up there in California for training camp, and now the Raiders. So I think my personal belief is that you should have to hold your training camp in your home state. Now with that being said, I am happy, I am ecstatic that the Raiders are going back to their Southern California roots, back to their past a little bit, because there's a huge fan base in Southern California that still loves the Raiders. Every time you watch the Raiders and Chargers game in LA, you obviously see that. There's been so many different times where it's been a sea of black in Los Angeles for a Chargers game, and it was almost like another home game. But I still think my thought is that if you're located in a certain state, that's where your training camp should be, and it should not be in the same city. It should be somewhere else, and to kind of bring more fans, and also to give back to the state. Not only your local community, but also another community in that state that has invited you into their quadrant. For instance, the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe they should have their training camp in Reno or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if it makes any sense, like the Saints should not be traveling to California. All right, they should not. They should be doing somewhere else in New Orleans, or maybe a state that is actually touching their state. The Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys should be going to Southern California. They've been doing it for so long. But and the one thing about the Cowboys is it's a national brand as well, just like the Raiders. I consider the Raiders a national brand. I don't consider the Saints a national brand. I don't consider the Chargers a national brand. The Rams, I don't consider them a national brand. There's just certain teams that are national brands. The Cowboys are definitely a national brand, probably the biggest in the NFL national brand wise. But the Raiders, I feel like the Raiders fall in that as well, where if you were able to pull up a map of their fan base, it's national. There's large amounts of Raider fans all across the country. Whereas you look at somebody like the Saints, your largest pocket's going to be in Louisiana, in the New Orleans area, and you're going to have some sprinkled with around there, Mississippi, Alabama, neighboring states, and maybe a little bit Texas, Eastern Texas there. I don't know, but they're not a national brand. If you pull up a full map, you're not going to see large chunks of gold and black for the Saints. It's just not going to happen. So I just don't understand why. I just don't think it should be allowed. Or if you're going to go out of state, it has to be a state that is touching your state, something like that, and it can't be more than 100 miles past that border. I don't know. Maybe it's goofy. I don't. That's just my thought on it. I feel like they should keep it in or around their state. Adam, the answer says good rule about the train. Thank you, Adam Glenn. And I don't think you should be held in the city that you normally play in. Get out, spread your wings a little bit, like the Eagles. Because I'm from Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. The Eagles used to hold it at Lehigh University, which isn't terribly far from Philadelphia, but it's far enough where it's not Philadelphia, right? But now I don't think they hold it there anymore. For some reason, I feel like they hold it at their home stadium, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. And all training camps should be free to attend as well. That they should be free to attend. And preseason game should be like a quarter of the price of a regular season game. I don't know what the prices are for preseason games, but I'm going to send this portion of the Silver and Black Lair Raiders edition to Roger the Dodger Goodell and see if he can change that for us. All right, so that's enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads, but before I do, I'll let everybody know you can find me at SB_Lair_OOTBE. You can also find Out of the Box Sports at OOTBox Sports on X, Twitter. Also, Out of the Box Sports Entertainment at OOTBox Sports on YouTube and on Facebook. And for myself on YouTube, where I also stream this show from, at the Batcave_OOTBSE on YouTube. That's the Batcave_OOTBSE. Please subscribe to the channel, Out of the Box Sports channel, the Batcave channel, if you don't mind. But primarily the Out of the Box Sports channel. Please subscribe to that. But if you want to subscribe to the Batcave channel, I appreciate it. Much obliged. Thank you. I got another comment here. They hold it in Philly. Yeah, I just think that's stupid. It should be outside the city limits where you normally have your games. Because a lot of people go into the city for those games. It's not just Philadelphia people going to those games, but a lot of people actually go into the city for those games. How about you come to some of those people now? Like I said, like they used to hold it in Lehigh. That was a huge thing. I remember growing up as a kid, as a teenager, a lot of my friends going down to Lehigh to go watch the Eagles practice. So, on a college campus, and I think they should be primarily held on a college campus or a smaller venue. All right, a couple sponsor reads here before I jet out of here. Of course, we have our boy, Jason Fine, J. Fine Law Attorney, Big Al. You reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. I do think the Los Angeles Chargers are going to have to take Mr. Jason Fine up on the personal injury claims because they might be a little bit butthurt after what the city council of Costa Mesa had to say about them. So stay tuned. He also has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In the Garden State of New Jersey, the offices are located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the cheeseburgers are doubled in size. I don't know. 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. I don't know what the name of that cheeseburger is in Pittsburgh. I feel like it's what is that called? It's not the Pittsburgher, is it? I feel like it's called something else. I don't know. But also in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, his offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, Attorney Big Al. And be sure to let him know that Out of the Box Sports Entertainment sent you. for a little bit of a price discount there, percentage discount. Head on over to monkeycoldcoffee.com for all of your gourmet coffee needs. They have bourbon, chocolate, chip-infused coffee, toasted coconut rum. They have a Sumatran blend, medium roast coffee. They have an organic blend called Perula, Florida, and their newest flavor, golden honey agave. They're also selling barrel-aged honey as well at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Head on over to that swag shop. Get yourself a t-shirt, coffee mug, tumbler cup, cold brew pitcher, K-cup adapter, and don't forget that sweet, sweet paradise rum cake at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. All righty. There we go. Got a comment? Our boy Adam, the only one commenting right now. It says, no recovery, no fee, Big Al. If you say so, Adam. All right. So that's all I have for today with Las Vegas Raiders, with the silver and black Lair. Be sure to join me next Friday morning, 10 a.m. Like I said, I'll be breaking down the linebackers and whatever Raider news that we have from there. Before I go, I want to remind everybody that coming up May 27th, Monday, May 27th, a brand new show here on Out of the Box Sports, Inside the Octagon with UFC Talk with our boy Paul and his new co-host, Josh. Mondays at 8:30, starting May 27th. Be sure to check that out on Out of the Box Sports, and I will be live tomorrow, 10 p.m., myself, the showstopper, Cowboy Dave, the answer, Adam Glenn, Adam the Answer, and of course, the professor of old school wrestling, Eddie Prather. Perhaps. We'll see if Eddie's on or not. Haven't heard from Eddie in a while. Hey, Eddie, are you still out there, buddy? I don't know. So be sure to check that out. And myself, like I said, tomorrow night, also next Wednesday morning, 10 a.m., I will be live talking New York Mets baseball with the Bat Cave. And then next Thursday morning, 10 a.m., Silver and Black Lair, LA Kings edition, talking LA Kings hockey and Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Got our last comment before I jet out here. Got a couple comments. Eileen with a wave. Hello, Eileen. And she says that Eddie is still alive. Good. It's good to know. Haven't heard from Eddie in a while. So, Eddie, if you're out there, talk to you later. All right. That's all I have. Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I'll see you guys next week, and just win, baby.